Hey, friends, welcome back to the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. Cam K, Great and Bun back with you. And we are here with the current points leader of the late model division out of the legendary Delaware Speedway, Ray Morneau Jr., who has probably got the best beard in racing. Let's just say, Gray and I have been working on ours for a while, and we can't get the full thing. And look at you, just perfect.
Yeah, welcome in, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Ray, tell us a bit about your family lineage. Racing runs deep with you. I know that. Give us a little bit of the Morneau family in a nutshell, if you will.
You could be here for hours, right?
yeah, I know. The Coles notes, I guess. Even that.
Yeah, so it all started with my grandfather way back in the day. He used to help guys on their cars, and then he started working at the track here in Checker Flag in Windsor, and brought my dad, my uncles out to the racetrack, and fell in love with it. So they started racing. I want to say it was '85, and then that was my uncles, my dad. They all raced. Then Checker Flag closed. So they started running a little bit in Toledo, and then went to Delaware, and we've kind of went on from there. Then it was my turn.
Yeah.
So we've kind of been able to talk with a lot of other people within the community. The Shepherds, for example, we'll start with them, and we find out kind of how they're kind of connected to everybody, and then there's these people connected to everybody, and these people connected to everybody. But with all the family kind of within the racing scene, it's not always a given that you're going to get into racing. When did you make the decision that you wanted to actually drive and not just be a part of it?
That was probably, I'm going to say I was right around 6 or 7.
Wow.
I used to go to Delaware. My parents would sneak me into the pits. I think the age was 8 or something, and I used to be in the pits when I was 6. But I used to work on my uncle's cars, and then my dad went out to Grand Bend Speedway and checked it out, and then came home and asked me. He goes, "What do you think about a micro sprint?" I was like, "Sure." So he bought me a micro sprint, and it all started from there, and it's blossomed into the pro late model.
What's the first memory of driving a car?
So funny story. The first time we ever went out, I went out and I told my dad, I said, "This thing's hard to turn." And he goes, "Nah, you're just a wimp." So kept going, practiced all day, and then brought the car home. And it turned out the steering shaft was grinding up against the floor pan. So I'm like, "I told you, Dad." But that's my first memory on practice day, my first time in the micro sprint.
Progression, micro sprints, where do we go from there?
So I ran micro sprints, and then my dad hurt his back at work, and we had a little go-kart track at home, a little dirt track. So we ran there on Monday nights for a year, and then after that went back to micro sprints, and then moved up to a legend car. And those are a ton of fun. My favorite car to drive by far.
Yeah. Really, eh?
Yes, they're a handful, ton of power. I was 12 when I was driving it, so it's a great learning tool for a younger kid to get the car control. And they're just a ton of fun. I miss them all the time. My buddy Hudson Nagy, he's got one, and I always tell him, I said, I wish I had one because they're just so much fun.
They're good for kids to get their start in, younger drivers. What about like 40-plus-year-old drivers, for instance? Maybe they.
Oh yeah, it's good for everybody. Like I said, that's the best car to learn in.
I talked to Wally. Sorry, Cam.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, Wally.
Yeah, talking to Wally for what was his first ever race in the Legend at Peterborough, and it didn't work out too great in the end for him. But he said they're quite fun to drive for all the reasons you said. Quite a bit of power for the small little car they are, a bit to muscle around. So they do sound like a riot to try.
Yeah. I was talking to Wally too, and he said he enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because you talked about like those legend things. They whip around. Like I used to watch the back in the day. Not to age us, Ray, Back in the day, maybe, I don't know, I don't know if you're old enough, but maybe you remember Speed Vision or Speed Channel.
Yep.
They used to showcase the weekly racing in the legend cars at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Mhm.
And it was always a stacked field. And one of those divisions nowadays it seems like it's got a little bit lower in terms of counts, but that's everywhere nowadays, except really Delaware Speedway. Can you speak to what's going on as to why Delaware is like, when we had last year, I think it was Superstocks, 39 Superstocks showed up, and they had to run a last chance qualifier because there's too many.
Yeah.
Is it the track? Is it just like, what is it?
I don't know what it is. I know Delaware's always been the place to be back in the day. My dad always said, they could race wheelbarrows around there and they pack the place. But the car counts are awesome. Part of it is, I think, the new track surface, but it's the ownership group too. They're putting, you see the money they're putting into it, the money they're giving back to the racers. You have to go and support it, right? So it's very cool, like I said, to be there and have all the cars. Best competition, I think, for a weekly pro late model series, and to be leading the points right now, it's very, very cool.
You're up against some really tough talent too. It's not, and this is the thing that really strikes me as I look down that list of people that you're competing against, and it's a who's who of talent. Kyle Steckley, our good buddy. Yeah, we can't pick favorites or anything like that, right? So, you're in the running right now, Ray. But yourself, you've got Kyle Steckley, and then you've got veterans. You've got veterans in there. Darrell Lake. You've got Matt Robley, who you can never count out for a win.
Yes.
Cole Powell, same thing. When you look at this and go, I'm leading all of these names. You've got 17 drivers that have made every start this season, and you're leading them. Where's the pressure?
It's definitely high. I try not to pay too much attention to the points, but it is cool to look and just see the list of drivers. Like you said, it's like I said, the competition is crazy, and to see the list of drivers that you're in front of right now is cool. But I try not to pay attention to it, just to focus on the job at task and go out there and try and win every week.
Ray, you've run the old Delaware configuration and now the new, and what are your thoughts on the changes?
I like it a lot. It gives you the option, if someone bobbles on the bottom, you can go to the top. Yeah. Delaware, the past few years, you haven't been able to do that. It was always just to the bottom, and then as soon as you get somebody, either wait a few laps, see if they screw up, or just root them out of the way. So I really enjoy this new surface. It's super smooth. JR Excavating did a great job paving it. And it's like I said, it gives you the option if someone messes up, through a run or on a restart. It makes it a lot of fun as a race car driver.
And it's fun for the fun for the audience too. I mean, it's given the drivers options to one, be able to get around someone in front of them, but also it kind of allows you to kind of put your skills on display and showcase what you guys are. You don't have to just run into the guy and, like you said, root him out of the way. If you have another way around him, obviously you're going to take it without having to ruffle feathers. But I mean, it's such a racy looking surface now. I mean, it always was, but this improved, I would say, is an improvement that makes it all the more racier and just give you guys more options out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not one to want to drive through guys and move them out of the way. So I like this. It gives you the option to try and set somebody up, and I'm really liking it.
Cool. Yeah, you could have driven through Jaden Chapman in your side by side battle to the line. And we're so lucky to have Rogers TV London going out there and showcasing you guys each and every week. I tell Graydon this all the time. I actually look forward more to watching Delaware Weekly Racing and watching the Canadian stuff more than I ever have before. You don't have all the, what do you call it, the mumbo jumbo down there with stages and and all that crap that they have in NASCAR down south. You have just go out there and do it and win. And that race that you had with Jaden Chapman side by side to the line, I thought it was going to be the best race at Delaware finish for the whole year. And then the V8s went out there and did 3 wide finish to show you guys up. But you mentioned that going out on that high side is a possibility. Is there any sort of worry, though, that when the track wears down, it's going to be completely either a one track or a one lane track, or like, are we just going to sit here and enjoy it until something happens?
I'm going to sit back and enjoy it while we got it. I think it's going to be good for a while here. Like I said, the paving has been awesome. The outside, there's not a bump in it. So it's,
okay.
I don't think, it's not like it's going to come apart or anything. And I think just with more time on it, it's going to come into its own. And like you said, the finishes right now are awesome. Side by side, being able to do that to the line is awesome.
Yeah, I can't say, Graydon, that we've experienced too many of those side by side races of recent memory in the Cup Series. You know, it's not something that we see week in and week out. And one thing that's really good about weekly racing is you get to learn the personalities. We get to learn about all the people that are out there, and you've got a solid crew of people that you have around you that luckily we've I don't even know how, but we've gotten to know them through social media, and you have a very entertaining group of people that you have that come in and help you week in and week out. And one thing that was really cool to see was you guys out there helping Carson with his team. And is it true when they say that the racing community is like a family? Because if there is one, I think yours shows it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a big family, like you said. Helping Carson is awesome. Whenever we're at an APC race, if we're not helping, say, Carson, we're good buddies. If I'm not helping them, I'm helping a McCall car through practice and then through the race. So it's just a big family. You get to know everybody, and we're all there trying to do the same thing, right? So if you're not getting along, it just drags the day out and then gets everybody miserable, right? So it's nice to try and get along with everybody, and we try and do that our best.
You guys have, unfortunately, the I can't say the pleasure of seeing what was this last weekend at Delaware Speedway. My dad and we talked about this because we have to say a prayer for all those cars that were destroyed at Delaware Speedway this past week. I can't say that I've seen a Delaware race weekend that was so carnage filled. You were in the APC series race, which maybe wasn't as crazy as the Oscar Hot Rod pileup, but you guys had a couple pileups in there as well that were pretty scary looking. Any idea, again, as to, is it just some days that the track is just a mess and people just wreck all the time?
Yeah, I don't know. It all depends how the race goes too, right? You have those nights everywhere. Delaware is just a lot faster and stuff happens quicker, and
right.
It's bigger. But like I said, it happens everywhere. You're going to have them nights. Just luckily we were able to stay out of the carnage and have one car in one piece and ready for Friday.
Well, you definitely had a good fight. Let's talk about the race out there. How do you think it went?
We were all right. I'm happy with the finish. Like I said, we got a car in one piece. That was our goal. That was our number one goal because we don't have much turnaround time here to Friday. And then to get a top 10, I was happy. We missed the setup a little bit. We scuffed our race tires, and I thought the track was going to tighten up a lot, and it didn't. So I made the wrong call in the seat, and we didn't adjust for it, and we just missed the setup. But like I said, to finish top 10 in that field, it's quite the task just to run in the series. And when you can finish top 10, you gotta pat yourself on the back.
I guess one of my questions before we because it hit me right now, because I'm not a car guy. I love watching them go around in circles, but I could not tell you anything about them. My question, Ray, is when you guys run weekly, what is there really to change in setup week in to week out? Because you are technically running at the same track. So when you do have the APC series to the weekly racing, what is the adjustments that you have to make?
So for the weekly series that we run, we have to run a restrictor plate,
and
we weigh more as well. And then there's setup changes too, right? We're on an inventory tire deal at Delaware. So you kind of have to keep that in mind too, right? You're changing all your tires over. But setup wise, it changes a little bit. Obviously, having more horsepower with the APC series when you take the restrictor off, you adjust for that, and being a longer race too, right? So yeah, there's a little bit of changes you have to make, and I'm glad we can just make those changes and we're not doing a bunch of body work or frame work.
Yeah. And you got to make those changes upstairs too, right? As a driver, like tell your right foot that the race is longer for those APC races and that sort of thing, and not burn up your stuff too fast too.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to Shea Gemmel on Friday night up top. We had a little autograph session, and I was talking to him about the longer race, and he said, just watch your right rear. And I thought I did a good job, and then he drove around me. But yeah, it's definitely something to get used to, a little bit longer races. I've run a couple 100-lap races, but it's, if you're not running them all the time, it's a hard adjustment.
I can imagine.
For you, Ray, what's the end goal? Obviously, you're running weekly and you want to run the championship, but ladder system, would you be going towards Pinties? Would you going towards APC series, modifieds, hot rods, running around Walmart with a golf cart?
I'd love to go and win a championship this year. That's our first goal, is to win a championship at Delaware. And the way we're going right now, it looks like we could have a shot. And then I'd love to go run the whole APC tour. If the funds were right, we'd love to do it. And then from there, who knows what could happen, right? I'd like to drive anything with four wheels and a motor. I'd like to drive.
Lawnmower racing it is.
As long as it's got a big motor, because I'm not
the
smallest guy.
There was that announcement that the vendor is they're looking for a vendor at Delaware Speedway. So I've got to ask, Ray, is Dana getting ready for the inevitable move in for Dana's Desserts at Delaware Speedway?
Oh, I don't know if she's ready for that step, but she's always got treats there, and tries to make everybody happy. And I can tell you one thing is they're really, really good. Once you have one, you're in trouble.
That's the thing that I think Graydon and we haven't had the opportunity yet to experience the Dana's Dessert. So we're looking forward to it. We'll be down there for the finales. I think you're camping this time around again.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I think I might be joining you this time. I don't know if I told you that yet, but
surprise.
Here we go. So besides, if you're going up to a late night of beverages and Dana's Desserts, you might not want to go home. You might just be able to
say. I mean,
you might just have to
want to get behind the wheel anyway.
No, we're not advocating that. No way. No. Hell, even having no beverages and just a Dana's Dessert might just put you in right to sleep, right?
Yeah.
But Ray, thank you so much for joining us. We definitely want to give you an opportunity to shout out your sponsors who help get you to the racetrack each and every week, and of course your social media so people can follow you.
Yeah, for sure.
Not in a creepy way.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll start with my sponsors. First, the John Arts Group. They came with us last year, and then they've committed to this year too. Never had a sponsor like them. It's awesome to have them on board. The JR Excavating, like I said, they paved the racetrack, did a great job. So pat on the back to them. Then we got East Elgin Concrete Forming. We have Iron Mike Industries, Hallmark Memorial, Toromont Cat, Reed Farms, Sun Parlor Trailers, St. Dennis Machine, Revard Snow Plowing. Who else we got? I think Double R Reworks, Highland Tools, think I hit everybody there. We got a lot of them. Dana's desserts.
There we go.
Saving that one for last.
I was gonna say, if you forgot that one.
Yeah, like I said, we have a lot of them, and sometimes it's hard to run through them. You like to look at the car, right? But I try and do my best.
Absolutely, Ray. Well, how can people follow your racing journey on social media?
So I'm on Facebook at Ray Morneau Racing. And then I'm on Instagram too, Ray Morneau 03, I think it is. And Twitter, I have Twitter, but I don't use it.
That's quite all right. We want to thank Ray Morneau Jr. for joining us on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast this week. We'll catch you all next week. Make sure you go out to Delaware Speedway and watch him in the late models each and every week. Well, not